did.
Everyone triple fucking confirm that you're recording.
All right.
I am
Yes,
recording.
Do you see audio coming through? Are there audio spikes?
Yes,
Are there?
yes. I have
Okay.
a track. I have a
Are
track.
there
there sound
valleys?
wave?
Are there
There's waves.
peaks?
There's peaks and valleys. Yeah, you buttheads. I only recorded audio professionally for like 3 to 6 years of my life.
Yeah,
Well,
and your
I mean-
boyfriend went to school for it.
Eh.
Just saying.
I mean,
This is
look,
okay. So this is now the Louis Rowe Roast podcast. Thank you for coming, you guys. I am the
No,
president.
no.
Brittney.
The Luis Roast.
We give
I'm
Luis
mad
a
at
lot more shit than he deserves. We really, honestly, don't feel bad at all.
No.
You know.
No.
I know.
Not at
But
all.
it's
I know,
such a
it's
funny
so
joke
funny.
that we keep bringing it up.
I know.
So, Brittney, how have you been?
I've been pretty great, actually. I've been my sads. You know, I get regular sads, as everybody does.
Sure. You still working for Fox?
No, they
No.
dumped my ass.
Oh, shit.
She got
2020?
forlorned or whatever.
June 2020 is when we broke up. It was, I mean, like
It's an abusive
I think
relationship
they-
anyway.
I, gave them a heads up that I was like, hey, I'm not feeling this. And so they were like, you know what? I broke up with you. So I was like, okay, that's fine.
Dang.
That's a power move.
Yeah. So let go because, couldn't afford me. I'm high maintenance, I know. And I bounced around. I did insurance and it made me want to kill myself. So,
Oh, you're not doing insurance anymore?
no, not doing insurance anymore. But
Nice.
because I'm like, I don't want this career you speak of. I would like to lay down. So I decided to just do temp work for the first time in my life. I was like, I'll just,
Nice.
get with a staffing agency, be a temp. And now I work for the public. I work for the public at a COVID-19 testing site. What? So I'm
Oh, shit.
directly,
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm helping members of my community directly by spreading awareness of testing and vaccine information.
And virus.
And virus. Come get your
Spreading
virus.
virus,
Yes. Man,
I
I've
wear
always
a
thought
mask,
that
okay?
I've always thought that it would be ideal for me to work 2 to 3 part-time jobs rather than 1 full-time job.
See, and that's where I'm trying to work as little as possible. And not because I'm trying to be a stay-at-home wife, but because I just don't believe in working under the guise of capitalism anymore. I'm there, you guys. I'm there.
Brittany, I'm right there with you. I mean, I feel like people think I'm crazy at work when I tell them, oh no, after 6 p.m. I don't answer emails, or I don't answer emails before 9 a.m. or whatever. Like when I told them, no, I'm not going to check on the weekends. I'll get back to you on Monday. To them, the people that I work with, I work in cannabis now, but all the people that I work with all come from politics. So
yeah.
they are fucking workaholics to the definition of the fucking word. And I just do not subscribe to that culture or that belief. And they see me as probably a fucking freeloader because I'm just, I'm getting paid however much money and only working 8 hours a day, even though I'm not even working really 8 hours a day most of the time. But it's like,
I mean,
fuck
nobody
you.
should.
I shouldn't fucking work 8 hours a day anyway. That is not sustainable. Literally nonstop working for 8 hours a day is exhausting mentally, emotionally.
No matter what you're doing. No matter what you're
Not
doing.
into it. I am not into it. And even working, that's what sucks is that I'm working in weed and I'm working way harder than I was at a tech company. Way longer hours. The people I work with aren't fucking stoners. They all come from politics.
Ew,
None
they
of them
don't
fucking
smoke
use.
weed?
No. It's the
Ew.
most disappointing.
This sounds corrupt.
That must have been a pretty awkward first meeting for y'all.
Dude, I was calling myself a stoner in every single interview. I have been introducing myself as the only stoner on the marketing team to everyone that I've been meeting. I'm wearing that badge proudly, man. And it's
honor.
I'm so obviously the only stoner on the team.
I came here to smoke weed.
And talk about
That
weed.
is what you
And-
sound like.
Yeah, that's a
I mean,
that's
but
a
that
really
is
good
what I
imitation.
came here to do. But also, so yeah, I'm also on that train, anti-capitalist, but even anti-capitalism has been, confiscated from us. So I'm just okay, and on my own little spiral downwards, and my
Yeah.
psychiatrist was like, here, let's add this to your regimen. It should help.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, all right, I'll try it, because I'm just, well, I mean, call it weakness, call it a crutch, call it whatever you want, but I was just sick and tired of feeling that way, and I couldn't figure out, all of my coping mechanisms to de-spiral myself weren't working. So I was like, help, 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 please help. Because, you know, I'm
Right.
doing all the things, the sleeping, the eating, the daily medication, all of it. Doing the teeth brushing, the clothes washing, like all of it. And I was like, can't lay down, have to lay
You're
down
on the whole
now.
grind set over there.
Well, not the grind. It's more like, it's more because, you know, I hate that word. I'm sorry, Brett. But like, it's more of, I guess in the sense of like self care, but like in the sense that of also like really cultivating self in the first place. Who am I? Like, you know,
Yeah.
because a lot of people experience that being laid off, and we talk about it a lot. I feel like that's all me and Luis have been talking about the past year, is just how like everybody had that time to be with themselves and realized that they weren't a whole person. And now that they have took the time to cultivate a real person, that's priceless. And that's why, you know, going back to work for $13 an hour,
It's a
trying to
fucking
scrape
joke,
by,
man.
yeah, that's nothing compared to having a full person to take care of. So yeah, that's what I've been
I mean,
working on lately.
American, that's great. I'm glad to hear that, because American culture puts no emphasis or value on developing yourself as a person, finding your real interests, contributing to society in ways outside of making a rich person richer. So yeah, man, I feel, as weird as it is, that we are counterculture in that way, when I feel like this should be the culture. And
Yeah.
it's very strange. It's a very strange feeling I get when I see my neighbors, you know, on their porch answering calls at 9 o'clock at night for work. And I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Like, it has been indoctrinated. Like, it's just major indoctrination. And it is a fucking bummer, man. But, you know, we're all the ones that we're going to end up, you know, history is cyclical. We're all going to end up on a fucking commune. Living together on a farm, growing our own vegetables, using our own shit as our fertilizer, and, you know, raising our babies together.
Oh my god, I'm dead. To circle, to kind of circle back to shit. I lost it. I'm a little high. Sorry.
Good.
But like,
I have wine and tea going. I'm drinking wine and tea at the same time. It's
you
weird.
know, like it's funny because I just talked to my therapist about it too. It's like I feel like it's silly to say, but I don't know what it is, other than, because I don't have the vocabulary to describe it, other than like I'm just too mentally ill to work 40 hours a week. If I am working 40 hours a week, it turns into 50 hours a week. Then it turns into 60 hours a week, because it's like one thing after another. And then there's slowly, there's not a person anymore. And I'm just like, I don't know
Yeah.
why I'm like that, but like it's the same with like I don't know. It's just the shit's triggering, and I've been traumatized.
Yeah. Well,
Brett,
I
you're
don't think it's-
vibing, Brett. What's
Yeah,
what's
what are
your
you
take?
listening to, bud?
Sorry, I'm listening to the album.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
you said the
nice. All
album
right.
one.
Well, we'll get into that in about 45 minutes. But real quick, I do want to say, I just want to add that, Brittney, I don't think you're unique in that sense, where working 40 hours a week makes you feel mentally ill, because I think that is what it does to people. I mean, how many people are in therapy because of their jobs, or have to go get a massage once a week because of their jobs, or they have to, you know, go and get drunk every other night because they fucking hate their job. And it's like, it really does contribute to like poor mental health, like having to work that hard, and having that be the expectation. And I'm so glad I don't deal with a lot of the horror stories that I read online about people dealing with their micromanaging bosses and these fucking ridiculous expectations and standards that people set for their employees. But still, I mean, I'm sitting here working in marketing and not liking it. So, you know, I'm pursuing other things and hoping that I can create my own schedule, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big goal for a lot of people our age. It's like entrepreneurship, I think, is going to blow up again. Outside of Etsy and YouTube and stuff like that. Like, I think we're all going to figure something out. Hopefully. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm optimistic.
Fingers friggin' crossed. Oh, another thing I was going to say too is that this, quote unquote labor shortage is one interesting perspective. I think I was listening to PR or something. It was like, what's going on right now is kind of like a passive labor movement.
Yeah,
and I'm
for
like,
sure.
yeah, please quit. Please keep quitting your fucking shitty ass jobs.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Negotiate raises. If you can't negotiate a raise, fucking quit. Leave. But not everybody can do that because, poor people, me, a poor, can't do that.
It's a
But,
privileged position to be in, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But those who can, fucking quit. If you're listening to this now and you're like on the fence, quit. Quit that job. Dump their ass.
Yeah, man.
Before they dump you.
Yep. I totally agree. That's a really cool way to put it, a passive labor strike. I think that's totally true. I think it's, we're just not actively taking the streets and protesting labor conditions and work conditions in the U.S. But, I mean, yeah, fucking put a stranglehold on these companies and force them to have to pay more to get people to come work there. I totally support it. They got the fucking money. Let's stop lying to ourselves.
Yeah. You could put
And I
yourself
think-
in space, Bezos. Yeah.
Yeah,
Then put
the
me
fuck outta
in
here.
fucking healthcare program.
I love those Amazon commercials where like, we pay $15 an hour now. And hey, do you want to be a nurse? We might pay for you to be a nurse. And I'm just like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
This bullshit PR campaign that you're shoving down our throats. And honestly, let's get into something positive here because
We're spiraling
I feel like-
together. Come with
I
me,
feel like-
everybody.
I feel like there's a lot to say about this record. And I think we need to get into it. So, what's up, buddies?
What's up, buddies?
And welcome to another episode of Earbuds, the podcast where good friends talk about good album for good time. I am one half of the Earbuds podcast. My name is Lucas, left turn only Indrakovs, and my co-host, Brett, Ted Cruz fan club president.
Well,
Hand
all
or
right.
hand.
I don't think I like that as much.
I was going to call you Forever the Sickest Kid, hand or hand, but I didn't know if you would catch the
I mean, I like that
the
a lot
reference,
better.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Brett, I mean, you already know we're the odd couple of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
We already know that everyone, including Brittney, calls us the pod couple of oddcasts. And we get it. We've already tattooed it on ourselves. We tattooed each other the other day.
Right. Yeah, we did a little stick and poke.
Yeah, a little stick and poke, That's what we call it. And it's I'm whatever. We're sticking with it. We're putting it on the mugs. We're putting it on the Patreon. It's here to stay, Brett. And today we have a very special guest with us. She selected this record, so you can thank or blame her for the next hour
Blame
of your
me,
life.
hate me.
It is our friend Brittney Richardson. Welcome, Brittney.
Hi. I'm qualified to critique all of you because I'm better than you. Thank you so much for having me.
Dang.
Wow. All
That's
right,
the energy
cool.
that Brittney. Keep that energy up, all right? Keep that energy up because today we are talking about an album that I actually have a pretty personal connection to myself. It is by one Alanis Morissette, and the album's called Jagged Little Pill.
Yep.
Brittney, why did you want to talk about this record specifically?
Okay, so it turned 25 last year. She's on tour celebrating it right now.
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
She's making on ABC. It's going to be an ABC show based on her life growing up as like a teen pop idol, which we'll get into later. I'm not going to try and give away everything.
She was
But yeah.
19 when she wrote this record.
Yeah.
Fucking insane.
And blew up when she was like 21.
Insane.
And yeah, so the reason I picked this, not only is she like a powerhouse of a musician and woman and person, but like you were saying, Lucas, I have a super personal connection to it because literally hand over feet. Like
Head over feet,
yeah. Like that was like one of the first like coherent memories I have of listening to like sounds that I recognized that were music.
Wow.
So like
Wow.
as a little baby child, we moved into the house that my great grandfather built, and I remember when the floors were still plywood before we'd put down, and I think I was like 2.5, maybe to 3, maybe something like that. And I just remember that like my mom had the CD, and the little boom boxes where you push it, the thing pops open, it looks like a fucking contraption from the Terminator or something, and you put the disc in, pop it closed, and like that CD was blaring while her and my dad were putting down the floor, and I'm just like thinking in my brain, I'm like, oh, this is like music. I don't know, it's just weird. Like my baby little brain, my baby tiny consciousness woke up and was aware for like a brief second, and that was like forever locked in my brain. And then, like, growing up, of course, I heard that song over and over again, and my mom was like, oh, this is how I feel about your dad. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Fucking gay.
What was what was the song?
Which song?
Hand over feet.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm listening to All I Really Want, and I'm just like, it would be funny if it was this one. It's weird. I have that's almost that's very similar to my story and my connection with this record. Like, you're quite a bit younger than me, I think.
I was
Brittney.
born in 94. The album came out in 95. So I was listening to it in 97 at some point, right before my little sister was, or right after my little sister was born, and when we were living in that house.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, you're like 7 years younger than me. So I was 7 pretty much when this album came out, or 8. And yeah, this was the first. I heard Ironic. I saw the music video, and which is fucking great still to this day. And it was the first time that I heard a song on my own and decided this is the music I like.
Yes.
That was the first time I ever, like, outside of the stuff that my parents had on all the time, this was the first cassette tape I ever bought. And it was very formative for me, like developing my own taste in music. I mean, within a year, I was listening to like Rage Against the Machine and Blink-182 and Korn and stuff. But Alanis was my intro into my musical taste. And interestingly enough, I actually connected with my sister about this record this whole last week while I was listening to it. We were texting like all the time about it because she had the exact same experience with this record.
Wow.
It was You Ought to Know that she heard.
Yeah.
She saw the music video for it. And she said it was the first time that she felt like she had found her own taste in music.
Yes. Oh, yes. I love that so much. And it's
Really cool.
It's such like a pivotal moment in life, because it's like one of the first decisions that you truly make for yourself that really nobody else can make for you. And it's such a lightning fast decision that's almost a universal experience.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a one of the deepest forms of identity is the music that you're into.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, it was huge for me. It was like, as a kid too, finding something that is mine, that I was then making my dad fucking listen to on, anytime we drove around. I have a very vivid memory of my friend's 8th birthday party. He was turning 8 years old, and we were all driving somewhere in a van, like 9 fucking little boys in a van, yelling at the top of our lungs, singing along to You Ought to Know.
Yeah.
And I wish that was captured on video. I would love to see like little 8-year-old boys fucking screaming along to this song and feeling it, like we were all like so into it. I bet their parents thought we were hilarious.
Or no, I'm just kidding.
Or gay? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there was many times in my life that people thought I was gay. It's something I'm used to at this point.
Me too.
Okay, there you go. And Brett, like, is this your first time ever really hearing the whole record, getting ready for this podcast?
No,
I've listened to it before.
Oh, go ahead, Brett.
Oh
yeah, I was asking Brett.
Oh.
I already heard
for it.
your story, Brittney.
All right, we gotta make.
I've moved on.
We gotta make some kind of like
Everything's about
nickname
me.
situation.
I know
Yeah, it's
because
Brett and
Brett and Brit. No, I hate that.
It's Fly the
Oh, I just
Conchords.
clipped. Ew.
All right, if you just Lucas, you just call me Brettney, and you call Brittney Brit. And I
Yeah.
think that'll clear up any like miscommunications.
I'll just say B from now on, and whoever answers first gets to.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
We need buzzers. Sorry, go ahead.
I love that.
I have no connection whatsoever to this album.
You have no emotional attachment
Nothing.
to this.
I knew the song "You Ought to Know," and aside from that, I had not heard any other song off this record.
You've heard
Not
ironic.
even ironic. Nope.
Shut the fuck up.
My roommate said the same thing. I just haven't heard it. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do about that.
How have you avoided ironic for 26 some odd years?
I don't know. The first time I heard it was when everyone on the internet was like, but it's not ironic. Actually, it's, it's
Right.
I don't know what they were saying. I wasn't paying attention.
I'm not smart enough to explain why it's not ironic.
It's not ironic. It's like an oxymoron, or it's like just a coincidence.
I feel like it's just bad luck most of the time. Like
Yeah,
having
that too, I
finding a
think, too.
black fly in your Chardonnay. That's not ironic. That's just bad luck.
And what also was bad luck was just me not having heard this album for a long time. I listened to it 3 years ago, about when I found out it was like one of the best-selling albums of all time.
Yeah, the 19th. I think you told me the 19th best-selling record of all time.
Yeah, that's what I saw on one website at least.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it again.
That's fucking insane.
But yeah, it's crazy. And I looked back with my very same roommate, Lily, and she was nominated for so many Grammys. I think she won like 7 awards.
Dude,
the 2
she
or
was
3
nominated
years.
nominated for 9 Grammys. She won 5,
Yeah.
including Album of the fucking Year.
Yeah, she was a big deal back then, and it seems like her name hasn't really traveled to the modern age for some reason.
Yeah, I think definitely just like a lot of other 90s bands and, musical acts, the 2000s weren't very kind to them.
Right.
I think looking at the same thing as like hair metal in the 80s, once grunge came around, hair metal did not fare well going into the next phase of music and
it
everything.
in fact did fare well from the music scene.
That it died? Yeah.
It went farewell, bye.
Hey,
And we never
joke
saw it.
landed.
I would pause it. Well, because the musical of Jagged Little Pill on Broadway came out in 2017.
Yeah, there's a musical. That blew my
I would
mind.
argue that Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill has stayed relevant. That's why she's on tour celebrating 25 years of Jagged Little Pill. Jagged Little Pill has been invigorating 13-year-old little girls since 1995, okay?
Hey, and 8-year-old little boys.
And 8-year-old little boys, you goddamn right.
Please.
And there's also a biopic coming, or not a documentary, excuse me. A documentary,
I'll watch that. I'll
HBO
watch the
Max
shit out of
coming
that.
out. So interesting tidbits from the article that I read about it. So in this documentary, in the trailer, Kevin Smith talks about her, and I think it's great that your story just kind of proves his point, because he was like, she was one of the first female artists to transcend gender, because even dudes could like rock the fuck out to her music and just be like, man, I fucking like this, and yeah, I feel that way too. And so
she's really angsty. It was perfect. It was perfect for the 90s.
And if you think
Right.
about, because the article that reviews it basically kind of summarizes it, it talks about being, a woman, being a child in the industry, and being surrounded by men because it's a predominantly male. So we can kind of like walk through like her in her early life. She's from Canada. And she was actually kind of like a Canadian pop icon, if you will, in like the late 80s.
She had like dance pop
And
records
she was
before this
on
one.
like Nickelodeon on a television show. You Can't Do That on Television. And so, she kind of had that very like, if you imagine like someone who is like a career actor since childhood, all the biopics and documentaries that come out, it's like that restless workaholic thing that we were talking about. And these kids it's the same story over and over again. These kids are basically little adults. They don't get to be kids.
No.
And so
They're
there's
given
part of,
speed when they get tired,
Stop.
and just like pump them full of methamphetamines just to keep them awake so they can finish the scene.
I know.
Fucking dark, man.
So, without just reading over this, I can already kind of like imagine, okay, yeah, so, and it talks about how she's, prominently surrounded by men, and how it's like she makes it like she obviously believes very deeply in what she's singing, but like at the same time, like her bandmates around her were not living out the values that she believed in. You know what I mean? Because like they're acting like dudes on the road, if that makes sense.
I didn't know she had like frequent band members, honestly.
Yes, she had the band. It was the drummer before he went to Foo Fighters, and then the
What?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard him, Taylor Hawkins, and Alanis were dating for a bit.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Okay, so yeah, that's what I was gonna get at too. She talks about writing her songs, and every time she talks about writing in general, she talks about, my songs start out as a very personal thing just for me. I am never out to ruin anyone's name. It's about me. If I
Sure.
don't express myself, then I'll get sick. And I'm just like, yes. It's that type of like, it's this type of energy that lives inside of you that if you don't express it, it does make you physically ill and manifest itself into physical illnesses. And I'm just like, I feel that on a very, as a writer myself, or just a creative, whatever. I feel that feeling very personally and deeply.
Doesn't it suck that you feel like such an asshole just for calling yourself an artist or calling yourself a creative or a musician? Like just kind of labeling yourself as that is seen as so pretentious that everyone that has a little bit of modesty always feels like an asshole when they call themselves an artist. But whatever, man, if you make a really good meal, that shit's art.
But I'm also on the like that idea that like labels are important because it provides for nuance and minutia and things like that. But that's a different topic. But yeah, so just like
you're diving down a fucking rabbit hole here.
I am. But yeah, so over what little I was able to skim over right before, the hour before we're recording, she's a very, what I like to refer to as like an HSP, highly sensitive person. And as a fellow HSP, a lot of like her explosive passion is often like misconstrued, and like a lot of how the media was talked about her, like the way the media had described her. Of course, it was in the 90s, so it was still predominantly male voices talking about a young woman, and it was like always framed as like her so-called anger. And when she talks about like writing those songs, she's like, I was healing from traumatic events. Like I was distancing myself and getting through a relationship that wasn't good for me. And it's like, it doesn't matter if it was like with the drummer, the guitar player, blah, 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 blah. Like she was in,
it might have been Uncle Joey from Full House. That's someone's
No, yeah, that
theory about You Ought to Know.
Yeah.
No, I hate that so much. But it's an AV Club article that I'm basically pulling from that talks about the shit. What is it? The documentary. And how
probably You Ought to Know. I'm guessing that's what they're going to call it.
You know what? No.
That's a great name for a documentary.
Actually, it's called Jagged. The documentary that's coming out.
All right, sure.
Lame. I'm not watching it now. Fuck that.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, she talks about an experience where she remembers being as young as 15 and saying like that was like the first time she was ever hit on. And it's like, ew, what are you what are you
Well, hopefully
doing?
it was from another 15-year-old.
No, it's it's obviously
I would
from
hope so.
because you're in you have to remember she's like the the career actor musician, so she's surrounded by
producer.
adults 24/7. Yeah. And so it's just like adults fucking suck. Adults really really fucking sucked back then.
Yep.
They still fucking suck now.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I ever got hit on when I was like 23, so
I
I didn't
can't
have to
wait
deal with
for
that,
my
thankfully.
first time.
Brett, you're looking pretty fine today, bud. Is that?
Hey, Lucas, I didn't know you thought that way about me.
Yeah, are those cat ears, or are you just looking like a fine?
No,
Leave
go
it.
ahead.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
gonna
I gave
repeat
up-
throughout
I
the
gave up
episode,
on
you
it.
Call me a pussy. It's fine.
No, but you know what I meant.
You
Oh,
should've
You should have said a
Jesus.
fine fox. You should have
See,
said.
I regret saying it already. This is the Lizzo episode all over again.
This is
Well,
so
look, why don't we?
What happened on the Lizzo episode? I need to go listen to it now. Which is
you
on
need
my
to
list.
listen to it. I was
It's on
very
my list.
cringy on it. I was extremely cringy.
But I think that's enough background of the album, huh? I think we should ought to
No!
get into it 30 minutes in.
No. Okay, yeah, let's get into it. First note. Is Shakira the Latin Alanis Morissette?
No, but Alanis certainly paved the way for more female artists so that people like Shakira could break through.
I think with people like Shakira, with a voice like Shakira, can make it through. Because Alanis' voice, while is great and powerful and emotional and can get angry and angsty, there's parts of it that annoyed me a lot.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah. Yeah,
Sorry.
I can get
Sorry.
that. I mean, I
Yeah.
can get that.
I mean, look, she's.
I mean,
Canadian,
especially on. It's,
so
I mean, the Canadian part definitely doesn't help, but it was mostly on Perfect. Perfect,
Yeah.
like I could barely listen to it. Perfect and Wake Up.
I liked Wake Up. Wake Up's good. That's a good way to end the album. I liked it. My Perfect was down there on my least favorites.
I hated it.
Let's see. Let me look back. I feel like I really don't have like a least favorite. Let me go to album.
Well, I mean, another thing I'll say about this record as a whole was it was weird. It was like the production was great, but then also not at the same time.
was
So-
it? I mean,
I can only get my hands on from Stupid Apple Music. I can only get my hands on the remastered version, which the remastered, you ought to know, I do not like. Actually, I
That's
like
probably
the
what I
original.
heard.
I like the original. There's some of the it's funny because I don't really feel like I notice these things kinds of anymore because I don't really like practice my audio engineering craft anymore. But for some reason, when I heard the remaster of You Ought to Know, I was like, that is not the same song. This is a completely different song, and I don't like it. It doesn't sound right.
and are
Well-
you talking about the track 2 on the album, or like there's a lot
Track
of
2.
albums with like the very last track is some kind of remix of You Ought to Know.
Right. There's the Jimmy the Saint blend or
Yeah,
something.
Jimmy the
where-
Saint blend, which I really didn't hear too much difference in that one.
I thought it just sounded a lot more like a shitty Bush song from 1995.
I guess what I'm hearing though too is like because I grew up listening to this on a CD, and CD sounds
Right.
way different than streamed music. So
Yeah, for sure.
that's probably why it sounded different to me. But let's see. Mary Jane wasn't my favorite. Wasn't too crazy about Mary Jane. My two least favorites are Perfect and Mary Jane, just because like
Yeah, me too.
Mary Jane doesn't move a lot dynamically. It's a very
It's
like
not about weed, which bothered me.
I'm fucking dead.
That was immediately disappointing. But her voice
Caught you
is
off guard.
really good on Mary Jane. But what I was saying about the production and like Brett, like let me know what you think, man, because I thought that everything sounded pretty good, but the drums were so 90s. There's something very flat about the drums on the whole record. to me.
Yeah, and that lasted into the early 2000s too, because when you say that, it really makes me think, because like Brett has heard me scream about this before. You've probably heard me scream about this before. Like the Slipknot song, the Push My Finger Through My Eyes song, that the drums on that track sound
Duality?
like dog shit.
It's
Dog
the
shit.
only thing that
Yeah.
slowly stops the
That whole,
ache.
just the drums just sound like terrible asshole. Like the whole, all of
Damn.
those mixes back then from the early 2000s. After I learned how to mix, whatever. When I learned how to mix, God, I sound again with the pretentious thing. I can't get over that.
There's
Lucas,
nothing pretentious about
you put it in my brain. Now I'm anxious about it. But anyways,
yeah.
when I learned how to do that and I went back and listened to all the music that I loved growing up, I was like, wow, I suck. I have shitty ass taste in mixes.
I think a lot more drums are programmed these days.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
sure.
what Louis.
Yeah.
Every time I bring a new song, he's like, "That's a drum track." I'm like, "Yeah, it's all a drum track, all the time."
Like, whoa.
I
Yeah.
love it. I'm not mad at it.
I think one of the things that disenchanted me from sound school when I went was that people were talking about all that stuff, and it, like with this album, is like as well, like the production of it I didn't really notice it all that much one way or another. I just enjoyed the songs for what they were. The drums are a little bit flat. There could be maybe a little more color in them, but it's also a singer-songwriter album. So that's not where the focus is for sure.
It's just like the guitars, the distorted guitars sounded like that to me, that it sounds like a singer-songwriter guitarist putting this really shitty line 6 distortion on his guitar and thinking that it sounds rockin'. This is fucking heavy.
You know
and
that,
it's just the shittiest distortion.
You know, Dave Navarro and Flea recorded "You Ought to Know."
Yeah, dude, and they helped write it. That was really surprising.
Yeah, I had no idea about that before.
Which kind of sounds about right, because I've never liked Dave Navarro's guitar tones or his riffs or anything that he's ever written.
Damn.
You've cracked it. You've cracked the case.
That's when I read that, I was like, that makes sense. That weird tremolo guitar during the chorus in "You Ought to Know" is very weird. The 90s like drum beat that is on every single song on this record, that is just that quintessential 90s kind of pop rock drum beat, it just got old. Is that Taylor Hawkins playing?
I don't think so. Oh wait. Hold on. Because I'm not 100% sure who was on the recordings, but I know
Curious.
that on the tour it was the drummer.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to find the guitarist player's name. You said it, Brett, right?
Dave Navarro?
Dave
I think
Navarro?
he only played on "You Ought to Know" from what I saw.
Yeah. I don't know if they... It wouldn't surprise me if they'd played on other songs, but that's the only one I know they played on for sure.
That they're at least credited.
Yeah.
Like songwriting credits. But I mean, again, production aside, I think a lot of this record is really strong songwriting, really great vocals, and the record as a whole just sounded and felt so 90s to me that I like I spontaneously grew a pair of Jinkos and a fucking chain wallet fell out of my ass while I was listening to it. Like one of those ball chain wallets. So at least it felt good.
It's funny that you keep saying that it sounds 90s, because I was reading Rolling Stone's artist on artist or musicians on musicians, and they paralleled her with Olivia Rodrigo. And the reasoning for that was because like their, I guess, path to stardom was quite similar. She's a child actress in the Disney High School Musical thing, and her very first debut album blew up at a super young age and kind of like that. And it was a really super cute article, and it made me, when I was listening to the album, I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like I was listening to 90s. I felt like I was listening to like a timeless masterpiece.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, this is beautiful. This is perfect. This is like, but I do also like, I feel some of the nostalgia, especially in the guitar riffs and in the fucking harmonica solos. It gives
drums
me
really for me.
It gives me real Stevie Nicks vibes, and it gives me like. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I trip into another world when I listen to this album. And it's because it is really because of the songwriting, and really I think that's what keeps me on this album is the songwriting. And when we're in the car and we heard Hand Over Feet on the radio, I was singing it to Louise, and I was like, I couldn't help it. It's all your fault. And he just like laughs, and I'm just like, this is perfect. This is just the song was about you for me.
There was many moments where I was singing along to this album that Christina from the other room would like look around the corner.
Are you
me, and I'm just like, whatever. You breathe, you learn. I'm like, I fucking love that song. I will forever love that song.
I love that. I love it.
I feel like, Alanis's voice, again, amazing. But there were some borderline, for me, cringy deliveries from her at times. And I think it's just that affectation that she puts on her voice.
It's that
Thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, God. You either love it or you don't.
It's like this, just like wild, spontaneous, like voice breaking kind of. And she had this, the way that her voice is and the way that she sings. And this is something that, like, because of the teacher that I had when I was going to sound school and stuff, like, it really put in perspective to me that the Stevie Nickses, the Alanis Morissettes, the Janis Joplins of the world, these are the once in a lifetime, maybe twice in a lifetime voices that you get to really build a sound around and design a method for them to be the most comfortable and to just let whatever they've got out, because it's art, and it's, they'll die if they don't let it out. Somebody help her, she's on fire. So yeah, and so it really put it in perspective to me. So that's like, even those wonky kind of voice breaks, they really do it for me, because I'm like, nobody else does this shit and gets away with it.
Shakira.
Yeah, well,
All right, okay.
But at the same time, so that's the thing. Shakira came after Alanis Morissette, so Alanis Morissette really turned the people on to that kind of wild, raw, whatever she has, that, that thing that she has to let out or she'll die.
Tons of vibrato in the voice. There's something goofy about it, but it's still really fun and entertaining.
It's because it's so sincere. It's because it's so... Like,
none of it felt.
It's the truest form of the artist living in real time.
Right. Every song sounded very passionate, felt like it was coming from a real place. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like she prioritized that instead of like rhyming sometimes.
Sure.
Like that's kind of where some of the those weird affectations came from, where there were some lines where she just didn't rhyme the lines together in favor of just like doing a line that she thought fit the song better, maybe.
Right.
Totally. Yeah, and it's a really cool mix overall on the record of singer-songwriter, but kind of grungy at times. They called it post-grunge at times, and pop rock, and it's just I mean, like you said, Brittney, I mean, I think a lot of the songs on this are timeless. And I think there's a reason why this album's so huge. And when I was listening to it, I listened to it several times for this episode. And the first time was, tears in the back of my eyes, like remembering so many things and just feeling it. And then I had to start being a little more critical of it. Mm-hmm. And really, outside of the things I already said, the drums are tinny and boring to me. Some of the guitar doesn't sound great.
Right, yeah.
I feel like the middle of the album has the best production for some reason. It's just those songs
stand out
the most to me.
That's like the formula. I don't know.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, that's that. Once we got into, really, like once Hand in My Pocket all the way through Head Over Feet, I would say the production is just top notch for me. Like that, those are the songs that I feel like there's nothing wrong with these at all. And there's really only 2 or 3 songs on this record that I don't really enjoy.
Yeah.
Like
Same.
This was a fucking awesome album. I'm so glad it stood up the test of time, because I haven't listened to this since I was probably 10.
Yeah, I felt the same way you did, I think, Lucas, in that it kind of did encapsulate an era of music, an era of time, but it is timeless as well. Like, it kind of, it felt a lot like the 90s from what little of it I did experience and
so
what
90s.
music I've heard from it. But it you can listen to it like we did in 2021, and it holds up perfectly. It's not like cringy or anything. There aren't any like stereotypical things from the 90s that were like ugh.
Right. And especially the lyricism and the stories that she's telling.
Killer
hold
lyricism
up.
throughout this entire album, even on the songs, even on the quote unquote bad songs, the songs you didn't like Perfect and Mary Jane.
Still
I'd say
great
like
lyrics.
The lyrics were still good. Yeah.
Yeah, she was very passionate about those songs as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. You can hear it. And that's I feel like, a lot of the songs that are coming out in the last 5-10 years are not going to hold up like this album did, because they mention Twitter or texting, or it's like all those like early 2000s rap songs that mention Sidekick, like,
or
MySpace. Hit me up, or MySpace,
My
or
top
anything like
8.
that. There are no
top 8.
zeitgeisty words that she used on this record. Like you can listen to this. If this had come out in the 60s or this had come out today, lyrically, all of it would be relevant and current.
I would go
Right.
a step further too and say the content, not only the lyricism, but the content of the lyricism. And I think that's like the key
for sure.
into writing a timeless song, is to write about a timeless subject or a timeless feeling, which, all feelings are timeless, whatever. But like, you know what I mean? Like just, heartbreak, sorrow, growing up, growing up in music, growing up trying to figure out who you are, and then not being afraid of saying it out loud. All that good stuff. It's something that all of us relate to all the time. I don't know if you guys can hear Luis snoring, but he's totally passed out.
I could not hear that.
It is 7:53 p.m. Central Standard Time, and
What the fuck is that chair moving? Oh, that's you. Okay.
Oh, yes,
Yeah, that's
me.
you.
It seemed
Get
further
that
back
boy.
for some reason.
Get that boy a sleep study, man. He is not sleeping enough.
Oh, poor baby. He does
Oh,
sleep
my
a lot,
God.
though. We go to sleep early, and I don't know. We
Yeah,
go
but
to
does he
sleep early,
honk like
sleeps all
a
the time.
fucking-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's might be sleep apnea there. Speaking from a fellow sleep apnea affected Latino. Well, fucking Brittney, we always pick two choice nugs. Our two favorite songs on the record. What is your first choice nug?
It is time, it is time, it is time for choice nugs. It is time, it is time, it is time for choice nugs.
Okay, well, obviously it's Hand Over Feet. Even though I forgot the name of the
okay.
song like 3 times. But Hand Over Feet.
Head over feet.
Head Over Feet.
You can almost name it every time.
Head Over Feet. I will never forget it now.
My pretty much my only note on Head Over Feet is, God damn it, I love this song.
Yeah.
It's a great song for sure, and it's a weird kind of positivity that isn't present in a lot of songs that isn't cheesy.
Yeah.
Right? And it's so 90s.
Yeah.
When those drums come in. But I love the grungy guitars. The chorus is probably one of the catchiest on the record.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Over
In spite
inside
of me. I found head over feet.
Super catchy, super something you could like, I don't know, play on your wedding day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Stolen, playing that on my wedding day. Thank you. Brett, don't you fucking dare.
I won't
Lucas,
tell anyone.
don't you fucking dare.
Hey man, I'm not gonna step on your toes there. I'm playing Cisco's thong song at my wedding.
I'm
So.
fucking
Yeah. I was
I'm gonna
already
dye my
planning
hair
on raining
silver.
blood.
dare.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Head Over Feet, man. I always pick like honorable mention songs, and that was such an easy honor. It was one of my favorites when I was a kid.
that's one of
and
mine
it's-
as well.
Yeah, it's so good, so catchy.
Yeah.
Well, Brett, what was one of your choice nugs, man?
Well, my first choice nug is going to be the first and only song I'd heard off this album for years and years and years, which is "You Oughta Know."
Yeah.
The Cross-Eyed Bear.
Yeah, it's just the fact that you can't hear the intro, the electric chorus that happens, man. The fact that you would never know Flea played bass on this thing.
Yeah.
It all comes together into a beautiful medley of tunes. But no, like I love this song. I love the attitude with it.
Lots of attitude.
Just the anger that you can hear behind her voice and the power that comes with it.
That's you
like,
fucked her.
You you die, you're still alive, and I'm here.
Such a strong voice.
Yeah.
I'm switching to wine, by the way, now.
Yeah, get your wine out for this one.
Blessed is the wine.
It's a fucking home pour.
Oh, for the Alanis Morissette episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna spill a little bit of wine on my floor for Alanis.
Oh my god,
dude, that drum machine though, I could do without.
Oh come on! It doesn't. You can't tell me it comes in and you don't get a feeling of like, ooh, oh, I'm in it.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like I'm watching, a gritty '90s young adult movie.
And that isn't a positive thing to you. Okay. All right, fine.
Sorry.
Well,
if I
wanted
to watch The Craft, I just watched The Craft.
Wait,
all right?
wait. So I have a second choice nug and an honorable mention.
Okay. Well, Brett, are you done with You Ought to Know? That's all you want to say?
I mean,
That was an honorable mention for me too.
I'll lay off because it seems like we have a lot of nugs to get to in this time.
We got a lot of nugs.
Nuggies.
Let me do my first choice nug, which is Hand in My Pocket.
Yes,
Yeah. It's giving
what
a high
classic.
five.
And the other one's fashion.
That's got to be the most Canadian song that she has on the album.
Yep.
Why do you say that?
Just her affectation
but
of
I'm
one
kind.
hand in my pocket, the other's giving a high five.
I'm poor, but I'm kind. I love the dichotomy of the lyrics and her lyrics. I think her lyrics. So this is probably my favorite lyrics on the record. Is Hand in My Pocket, and her voice is so strong on this song.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah.
And
What it all comes down to.
There's such
Dude, that chorus, so catchy.
there's such a power in her voice that it strikes such a deep vulnerability that it makes you feel naked just listening to it.
Right.
It definitely, you could, like you said, you can feel that vulnerability, man. And on this song, man, the way the song builds, it like gradually builds. Every verse, every chorus is a little louder, a little more instrumentation going on, and it just, man, when it busts out, that was when I was playing some shooter video game, listening to this song, and I'm just like, everything's gonna be fine. And I'm like trying to shoot people in the head, and I'm like, this is perfect for this.
I wouldn't say it's the perfect like comparison thing to do, playing a video game in this.
Perfect
but
for me.
Yeah, it seems like it worked for you.
It always
Oh,
reminds
yeah.
me of that movie, The Internship, with Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn. And his Vince Vaughn's like, get pumped. No, Owen Wilson. It's Owen Wilson's like, get pumped music. And he's like, you've never listened to Alanis Morissette's Ironic? It's like,
That's a good one. Yeah, Hand in My Pocket. It's funny, man, because my favorite songs when I was a kid were not my choice nugs as a 34-year-old.
really?
That's so weird.
Isn't that weird that I've changed since I was 8 years old?
Do you think
Gross.
you've changed since then?
And I mean, I look exactly the same.
Are you telling me you're like fake? You're like a poser? Is that what you're saying?
He's a mother.
Yeah, that I changed. Yeah.
Wow.
I remember when I got a haircut when I moved to Austin. I got one of those haircuts that you like pomade your hair to the side and you get it all faded on this, and everything. And I got called out as that I've changed. That like who the fuck is Lucas now because he got a haircut.
Oh.
And I'm like, God damn, I can't like wear a shirt that I've never worn before or style my hair in a way I've never done before. Like, has that ever happened to you guys where you do one small thing and all of a sudden people are like, Brittney's changed?
Yeah, I shaved my legs. And my mom was like, "So are you a girl now?"
Oh my.
It's like, shit.
Oh my
Wow.
God. How old were you?
It was a year ago.
We were together. We noticed too. Oh wait, no, I think Lucas left us by then. Wait.
Oh, had I?
But I don't know.
Was I not there for the shaved
I
legs?
was there for
would've
the.
loved to
I
seen that.
remember. I was like, hey, because I can't remember who pointed it out, but you were over here and like you had bare legs and everybody was talking about it, and I was like, why are we talking
Such
about?
a big deal.
I was like, why are we talking about Brett's fucking bare ass
Like,
legs?
shit.
Come on. Come on,
Let me
y'all.
shave my fucking hair off.
You probably got great legs. I don't think I saw it.
I do. Thank you very much.
You're like, have you seen my calves?
He's got great gams.
You got great games.
Brittney, tell me about your second nug.
Okay, my second nuggie is actually not any of the bops because, re-listening to the album and actually listening to more than just the hits, like what I did when I was growing up, I actually really vibe
Right.
with Right Through You. Right Through You.
Right there was a
is
good one, man. That was an honorable mention
Mhm,
for me. Yeah.
And then, I don't think I have any more nugs. Those are really my top two right now. It's just like
Man.
Head Over Feet and Right Through You. Right Through You because, like, I don't know. I feel that for myself right now, and I'm not about trying to like guess what the artist meant. I'm really it's about me. The song was for me, about me. Thank you. And Right Through You, the lyricism in it just really invigorates like this sense of empowerment in myself because I can see right through anybody who doesn't care about me or who isn't there for me or, whatever. I can see right through you. Shut up.
Totally. Man, that, again, so many catchy choruses on this record, and that
For sure.
Right Through You, such a great chorus, and I love all the harmonies
Yes.
that they did on that.
Yes, that's another reason why I was just like, It's one of those ones where I sing the song through and I sing the harmonies rather than the main line.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great sign. That's a good fucking song then. Yeah, I think what it's about is her experiences in the record business, and she's talking to all these producers and record
Yep.
execs, and she's just like, "Yeah, you're fucking staring at my ass, and then you go play golf."
Yep.
Like, fuck you.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Yep. That's a good one, man. That's a good one. Brett, what's your second choicey? Your second chicken nugget.
My second little chicken nuggie is going to be the first track off the album, All I Really Want.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
That's an honorable mention for me, yeah.
That's an honorable mention for me too.
I-
Is that a comfort?
Well, I will say that the All I Really Want, and it has a real desert rock vibe, so I think it really sets the stage for You Ought to Know, and especially that second music video where she's out in the desert. Like, it
Yeah.
just, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's one of the tracks with very fuzzy guitars on it.
Yeah.
It's got a kind of, I wouldn't say a very like pounding drive to the music, but it's very like moving forward, like we're moving through this. We're being very powerful
Yeah,
through this.
it's a very up tempo song. Not like you were saying, not fast, but like more upbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
one was for
for
you.
sure. I mean, the guitars I think help a lot with that.
Yeah.
That little,
Yeah.
the cheesy wah, like '90s guitar that I love.
Fucking Chili
And I think-
Peppers wah, bruh.
Yeah,
That
That I
fucking California wah, bruh. Fucking hate the Chili Peppers. Okay,
The-
continue.
This song has like some of my favorite like one of my favorite melodies from the vocals on the entire album, which is like that pre-chorus like
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good,
it's
man.
such a
so
fun-
so strong.
Yeah. And then she does a little like kind of harmonica stuff throughout the song, which I didn't think was her when I first listened to it, but it's her.
Oh yeah,
Dang it.
all her. She plays the heckin' harmonica. Taught herself how to play guitar for this album, also.
Really?
For this
Yes.
album. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently her and the co-producer, co-writer, they just met and vibed
Yeah,
and just wrote all these songs together.
The story that gets told over and over again is that her the two pop albums in Canada. The first one was considered a success. The second one was considered a failure, and she was ultimately dropped from her label. And she was living with her parents, bouncing back and forth between like studios and like friends, working out stuff with friends, and then like she said, Glenn Ballard, I think is his name. They finally Greg. There you go. Sorry. And they finally meet, and I think it's from the AV Club interview or article, whatever, where Greg just kind of says like, yeah, she was just looking for someone to be an artist with, because all of those other labels were still trying to make her like Britney Spears for Canada.
They were trying to Katy Perry her,
Yeah.
Britney Spears her, yeah. Tiffany or whatever from the 80s, just the older reference. Yeah.
Okay, Grandpa.
Yeah, dude, I'm so glad that she broke out of that. I'm at least 7 years older than both of you, so I got to represent my generation. That's I'm so glad that she broke out of that system too. Like she's wrote a lot of really great music after this record too, and there's plenty to listen to. But just before, with You Ought to Know, or sorry, with All I Really Want, Brett, like that guitar part's one of my favorites on the whole record. That it's so catchy, and the I love the distortion and the weird chorus that they have on it. It's fucking great. So my second choice, Nug, which, I mean, honestly, honorable mentions: Right Through You, Forgiven, Head Over Feet. Ironic is a fucking classic. I can't believe that it didn't end up as any of our choice Nugs, because it's not one of mine either. It'll forever be my go-to karaoke song.
It's like
it's so fun.
Okay, yeah.
And it used to, you're good. And it was clearly my favorite when I was, 8 years old. But man, yeah, You Learn is a very strong second choice Nug for me.
Wow. Okay.
You live, you learn, you cry, you learn.
Yeah, it's kind of got an R&B feel about it, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it sounds like it could have been like a fucking Brandy song in 1998.
Oh man.
And it's the song that they say that she says Jagged Little Pill in it, and I'm always just like, they said
love
it.
that.
That's another thing.
They said it.
You Learn blew up as a single here. I think it was like the fourth or fifth single or something like that. But still, it's like the title track got popular. You know how fucking rare that is.
And it's such a great line too on the Jagged Little Pills. It's swimming in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love the harmonies. The production actually stood out to me being really good.
Yeah.
On You Learn.
Very well produced.
Everything is really clear.
Mm-hmm.
All the instruments are super clear. The bass is deep and punchy and like really up front in the mix. It's the same drum beat as every other song, but whatever. They sound good. The guitar sounds great. I gotta get over it. Her voice is the chorus again. I mean, she's fucking. If this album was only choruses, it would be a 10.
Wow.
By far. By far.
I mean, she knows how to write a chorus, man. She knows how to write music that is both artistic and like easily accessible to a lot of people. Like something that the masses will enjoy.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like growing up there weren't nearly enough, or at least I wasn't exposed to nearly enough other female vocalists. By the time I got to middle school and high school, there was a time there where the only real big female vocalists were pop vocalists, and I just didn't like it. I couldn't connect with the Christina Aguileras of the world. So I could recognize that they were good, but to be honest, their voices annoyed me. And there's not enough Alanis Morissette influence on rock music, and there's not enough female-led vocalists when I was growing up. And now it's some of my favorite like music that I've heard the last few years is female-led rock music.
Yeah.
I feel like women are, in rock are finally being accepted for having rougher voices and not having to be pretty sounding all the time or soft sounding all the time or anything.
I will also say that, Courtney Love, we women, we rough sounding women, we've always been there. And I will take a quote from my...
Just not exposed enough,
I'll take a quote from my most like wonderful idol, literally worship him, Michael Hobbs. He said that like this funny thing in his Maintenance Phase podcast that like, Hollywood remembers like every 3 years that women can make money and are marketable and have talents.
Right.
And it's like Hollywood's a goldfish. But so it's like we've always women has always been there. Will always be there. And if men don't step the fuck up, we're gonna be doing it without them in the future. So, you know.
I mean, by now the path to be an artist and to be a popular artist is much more independent than it ever has been, and that's where all these female vocalists and female led rock bands and punk bands and all this stuff, that's where they're all finally being able to have more exposure. And I know
Right.
that these women were around when I was growing up. I wasn't being exposed to them.
Yeah.
So that's something that's been a really interesting change for me in my adult life, like in the last 10 years, being like, oh wow, like I actually heard of a band with a female vocalist and I really liked it.
Yeah.
Like that was a new experience for me. So it's so refreshing to go back to this and realize that this was my roots.
This
album
where it
is my
all
roots. This is where it
started.
all started. And it's like, God damn it, Alanis, you beautiful being.
Ruined me. I'm ruined.
Yeah, so few people throughout my life have compared to her magnitude and power of her voice, and it's cool that I'm finally hearing that happening again now. So it's awesome. With that said, Brittney, what would you rate this record? We allow decimal points, as many as you fucking want.
I have
0 through 10.
What is your rating?
If I were marooned on an island, I'd need this album. If I only had to choose one album, it would probably be that. But if I had to choose 5 albums, then it would be
If you
hard
had to choose one musician to be stranded on an album with, who would it be?
Stranded on an album with?
Stranded on an island with a musician.
Oh no. Well, I don't want to annoy her, so I wouldn't pick her. I don't want her to hate me. That's much I love her. But yeah, so like this is just like a hard 15 for me, like on a scale of 1 to 10.
Damn.
15?
That's a first. That's a first, Brittney. That's how
Wow,
you stand out.
no one's broken
in
the
this show.
scale before.
I
Yeah.
broke it because I love it. Even the songs that I don't like, I love.
All right, well, we're going to have to look, our metrics and our measurements, we're going to have to make that a 1.5. But I think that'll work like with our scale. We'll put that on the stream. Everyone will see it.
I'll look at the the exchange rates or whatever, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
On a scale of like negative 10 to 0, it's a 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5 exactly. Well, Brett, what would you rate it, man?
I'm going to give it a 7.3 because it's a fantastic album. I love the lyricism. I love how personal it gets. The overall songwriting is fantastic, very catchy. Choruses, some forgettable songs to me, like Perfect and parts of Not the Doctor that weren't the chorus, I guess.
Right. Same here.
And it was a singer-songwriter album. And I didn't have any nostalgia for it, but it's still a very good piece of work, man. And I think it's held up fantastically over 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm giving it, 7.3.
7.3. Solid, man. I'm kind of right around where you are. Going back to this record was a really cool experience for me, and again, very formative record for me. It basically led me to finding my own taste in music, and even though I grew out of Alanis Morissette, in a relatively short amount of time, this was huge. This album was huge for me, and going back and listening to it again has been really, really fun. And it actually led me to listen to, I think, in my opinion, is one of my favorite 90s, one of the best 90s songs ever. And it's her song that she wrote for the City of Angels soundtrack called Uninvited. If you guys have not heard that song,
I think I've heard it, but I could not recall it at the moment.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sure I've heard it too, but I don't remember it off the top of my head.
it's incredible. And if that was on this record, that's my choice Nug Alanis song. But that's not on this record, so I don't get to talk about it. But it just led me down this rabbit hole of just, revisiting all this old stuff. And there is a lot of nostalgia and a lot of personal connection and a lot of personal reasons going into my rating of this record. But I would, even saying that, I'm going to give it an 8.0.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, it really did stand the test of time.
And you hate Canadians.
And I mean, I could do without them in most situations.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
either way, both of you are imbeciles in my book. Get out of my face.
Yeah, sorry we didn't give it a 15 out of 10.
You know how scales work?
I am heavily biased though because I just women being women in front of everybody. Yes.
Yay, women!
Yes, women, but also
Women with a
for
Y.
the same. I don't know who the Y is for, but thanks, Lucas. No, just
It's so it doesn't say men. Okay, God, get with it, Brit.
I
Right,
can't-
Brett? Brit
Okay.
doesn't.
Dude,
Okay, but foolish of you to assume I can read. Okay.
Okay, my bad.
yeah, sorry, that was our bad.
Yeah, a Y is like a long line with a little line.
You know what? Fuck off. Thank you. Thank you. But yes, so for the same things though, like nostalgia, yes. Women, yes. But like grunge, angst, and relatability and lyricism. And just like Brett was saying, it's really like a singer-songwriter album. And it was really the first of its kind. And I think that's why... Because it was relatable and because it was the first of its kind, and Alanis is just so unabashedly Alanis, it blew the fuck up, and here we are 25 years later still talking about it.
Right.
Yep, thanks to you.
Yeah.
You made us talk about
you.
it.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
your fault, by the way.
I know, but it was destined to happen. I had to
It was.
browbeat my way onto y'all's podcast somehow because y'all weren't going to invite me.
Dude, we haven't had a guest on in forever.
It's true.
Oh no!
With the move and with Brett's
Oh yeah, that's
fucking,
right.
I don't know. I'm gonna blame some of it on Brett. I don't know what though.
Or were you, or be honest, you were scarred because Luis forgot to record last time, so you're like, we can't trust guests ever again.
I mean, no, it was more like Michael bringing on these crazy albums and like
Yeah.
kind of like, oh God, you brought on another 45 minutes of like a sound wave you recorded. Like, I don't think that counts, Michael.
Oh no!
He's like, can we listen to whatever that what's that album that's just like bird noises for like 30 minutes?
Oh no!
Louise
but-
showed me actually a long time ago. But this was awesome. This was so fun talking about this record. Brittney, thanks for being on the show. This was great. It was so
Yeah.
fun to have you on here.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for letting me invite myself on your show. And don't
You
forget,
are welcome. by the
I
way.
am qualified to critique you because I'm better than you.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's-
bringing it back to the beginning. Thank you.
If anyone walks away with
Yes.
anything about Brittany in this episode, is that she's better than you and
Yes.
she's allowed to
Yep.
critique you.
Got a
Yes,
degree
thank
in
you.
some sound thing or another. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, buddies, thank you for listening. Thank you, buddies. We love you and appreciate you as well. If you want to see more of us, go to our Instagram at EBPcast. Go to our YouTube channel. Go listen to our shorties. Every Monday we release a new episode. You know what's up. Comment on the post. Let us know what you thought about Alanis Morissette because, I mean, we really have barely got into this, to be honest. This is slightly over an hour, and I think we just scratched the surface.
For sure.
Yeah.
So much more
really.
to talk about. You can find me on Instagram as Jean-Luc Guitard. You can find Brett on Instagram at Brett Hanrahan. Brittany, is there anything you wanted to promote?
I mean, don't follow me. I'm boring. And
Don't look
also,
for her.
What account
don't
shouldn't
look
they
for me.
follow, Brittany?
Just know that
Yeah, what's
I'm
your at?
better. Just know that I'm better than you at Birdie Brittney on Instagram.
Okay.
Brittney, Birdie with the Y.
If you don't agree with any of Brittany's posts on Instagram, just know that she's better than you, so you can't really...
Disagree with me, so.
Yeah,
Brittany
or,
posts. Brittany posts all the best memes from iFunny, so don't try to
Stop.
follow if
You
if you don't feel bad about that.
Yeah, follow me
From
if you just want to see...
I hate you, Brett. My follow count just went down because of you. Fuck you.
I mean, all I pretty much do on my account is repost hardnews.net, hardtimesnews.net memes and eBombs World memes. So, I'm not doing much on there either.
Hey, you had a gem though with our Lord and Savior 9 Inch Nails, so
I love that one. I'm so glad you got that. You're the only one that sent me a message on that.
yes.
Brett, what would you rate this episode, man?
I'm gonna rate this episode a 15 out of 20.
God damn it. Great minds think alike. I was going to give it a 15 also. Brett, do you know... Do you know... Brett, what are we listening to on the next episode, man? I'm pretty sure it's your pick.
Shit.
If you don't have one picked, it's okay. We don't have to put it on the recording.
I do not have one picked yet, but get ready for it, buds.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
A surprise album.
A surprise album. You'll find out when you click on the fucking episode. Anyway, thanks again, buds. Thank you, Brittney.
Yay, thank you. Bye.
I love both of you.
I hate everyone. No.
All right,
That's
well,
fine. It's fine.
cool. Awesome.
Brett, good was this?
Lucas, this was good.
Oh, you guys. Okay, I'm going to stop recording now.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, now.